Hi, welcome to Cycling Inform's review of the Giant TCR SL1. Now this is the bike that they introduced last year, but it's got the upgrade to the Dura-Ace, new Dura-Ace 11-speed. Now this bike comes out in two versions. One, this version here, which is the mechanical version, and that's the TCR SL1, and the TCR SL0 has the Dura-Ace electronic 11-speed. So I'm going to be covering off some of the features of this particular bike and why I think it's a great bike to ride. Okay, so the first thing about this bike is obviously new Dura-Ace 11-speed. And one thing that's really noticeable about this bike is the cranks, and they've got the 4-spider ring. Now the great thing about these cranks is that you can convert them from standard 52-39 to a compact 50-34 chain rings, so that's really good. And obviously it's running the new Dura-Ace 11-speed, fantastic derailleurs, alright. And the other noticeable thing around this bike is the new Dura-Ace brakes. Now one of the things that I noticed about Dura-Ace brakes was when I upgraded to them from Campagnola record was that the Dura-Ace brakes are generally a lot more powerful, or they have more braking power than the Campagnola record. Now with the Dura-Ace 7900 brakes, you'll find that they'll be a little bit more powerful than the previous version. Now the Dura-Ace levers have changed slightly and they fit really well on the hands. Now these bikes come with a carbon fibre stem. Now I've gone for an aluminium stem. I usually go for a bit of a longer one, so I've gone for this stem, but Jodie's bike has got the carbon fibre stem, which is very nice as well. Now obviously all the cables are internally routed on this frame, and that's a fantastic feature. The seat pillar has two locations, so you can sit either a little bit further back, or you can sit a little bit further forward. So in this particular case there's a setting here, alright, and then another one a little bit further along where you can set it up to have a little bit more forward. Now this is not the seat that comes with the bike. This is Cellular SLR seat that I prefer to ride on. The bike comes with a physique seat, and I just have a personal preference. I've been riding on the Cellular for years, so I've put that seat back on, and it's just one of those little personal things. Now the other great feature about this bike is that they've gone to the new oversized headset. Now this is a little bit larger diameter than the previous bikes, and look, it's really made a big difference around the stiffness of the front end. This one goes around corners like an absolute dream, so it corners just fantastically. Builds a lot of confidence. I feel a lot more confident riding this bike because of its cornering ability, and I feel more confident riding in bunches and obviously going down hills. So this bike has a built-in speed and cadence sensor, and that just makes it really nice and tidy. So it means that you don't have to obviously cable tie on a speed and cadence sensor, so it just keeps it really nice and tidy and neat. Now the Giant comes with these stock standard Giant PSLR wheels. Now they're actually quite a nice set of wheels, and they have this fancy little quick release system that's quite tidy. So instead of having a lever that just moves in and out, they actually have a lever that goes around in circles. This particular frame comes with an integrated seat pillar, and a lot of people have issues with integrated seat pillars. One of the issues is, of course, obviously you can't take the seat out to put it into a small bag, but I don't have any problems with that. I've got a bike bag that I can fit this bike in with an integrated seat pillar, so I don't have any problems with that. The other issue is that people think that the resale value is going to be less because obviously they've cut the seat pillar and it's custom to their size. But the great thing about these seat pillars is that they do have a lot of adjustment range on them. And the other thing is that obviously these bikes are going to be set up for your size. So if you're a particular size, you're going to fit onto a particular bike size here. You'll find that the seat pillar is going to be cut off in around the normal sort of seat height. So unless you've got incredibly short or incredibly long legs for your height, look, it's not going to be an issue. Most people who's going to fit on this frame will have a seat position roughly around that same sort of height. And obviously, if they need to adjust that fairly drastically, they may need to find a bike that's either slightly smaller or slightly bigger, rather than worrying about the seat pillow length. Now I've also gone for the Dura-Ace pedals, and I really like these new carbon fibre Dura-Ace pedals. I was riding previously on their aluminium version that they released a few years ago, and the great thing about Shimano pedals is that the bearings don't actually wear out, you know, in the pedal, and they don't become quite sloppy. And look, my knees are very sensitive to sloppy pedals, so I like to be bolted really securely in. So these have got a great wide platform, and they've also, the bearings in them are very, very sturdy, so there's no play in those bearings. And what that enables you to do is get a really good solid platform that you put your shoe into. So look, I'm really absolutely loving these new Dura-Ace pedals. The other thing about these Dura-Ace pedals is that they are very positive when you click into them. So, and you can obviously adjust that, but I've got them wound up pretty tight, so I'm locked in pretty sturdy. But I do have to apply a little bit of pressure, more than normal, to get my feet into it. Now the other great feature about these giant bikes is the handlebars. Now look, I'm very particular around the sort of handlebars that I like to ride on, and I don't like changing them too often, so I was a little bit nervous about going to the new giant handlebars. They've got a few different tweaks to their shape. One, they've got this aerodynamic foil sort of thing happening on the top of them. So that's fantastic. Now they have got a really nice smooth transition through here, and these are sort of styled more on like the 3TT bars, and they have a really nice smooth transition through here, and it's actually a really, really nice fit. So there you have it. That's my review of the Giant TCR1. Now the two things that really stand out for me is, one, this bike's stiffer than my last Giant, so I find that, you know, when I'm accelerating in bunches and climbing up hills and going down hills, that I just feel a lot more comfortable and the bike feels a lot more responsive. And the other great thing about this bike is that it just corners like magic, and I just felt a lot more relieved when I was going around corners, a lot more comfortable and a lot more confident going around corners. It just seems to just flow around them nice and easy, and you don't have to put too much energy into it. You just point your bike and go around them. So I don't know what Giant have done in this model of bike, but they've just got the cornering and handling of this bike and the balance fantastic. And the other interesting thing about that is that when I take my hands off the handlebars, the bike doesn't want to wildly swerve left or right. It just tracks nice and straight along the road, even if it's a little bit windy. Now that's something that I couldn't do on my previous Giant. So look, I don't know what they've done with the bike handling, but they've just improved it to something that I think is probably the best bike that I've ever ridden so far in my cycling career. So there you have it. That's the Giant TCR SL1 review. I hope you've enjoyed it. And look, if you do get the opportunity to go for a test ride on one of these bikes, do that and see what you think about it.